It's good for you to get your ass kicked.
Really?
Yeah, it's good for you to know how easy it is for a man to kick your ass, too. It's good for you. It's good for you to get destroyed. It's good for you to get mounted and triangle choked and shit. It's good because you realize how easy it is for someone to do that to you, because most people have no idea. They walk through this world having no idea of how 100%. Some Marcelo Garcia character could just fucking take your life anytime he wanted to. And not just take your life. How about this? How about take my life? How about I've been doing jiu-jitsu since 96, and that little dude from Brazil could strangle the fuck out of me any day he wants. That's reality. And I'm almost a black belt. I'm like high level. There's a lot of people I've choked out. I can choke out some good people, man. And that guy could just tap me anytime he wants. So for me to be like almost a black belt, I might as well have never done jiu-jitsu. I'll just be able to hold him off for a little. He's gonna get me. It's inevitable. That's the kind of reality that exists for most people if you know jiu-jitsu. For most people, if you're in some sort of a street altercation with someone and you get a hold of them, that's all you have to do. Yeah. That's all you have to do. Hang on. Because you know what? In class, you're going 100%. 100%.
Are you serious?
Yeah, you know why? Because you don't hit each other. You're trying to choke and grappling. And in grappling, you're allowed to go 100%. Doesn't mean you hurt your partners. If you have a lock or if you have a choke, you put it to a certain position and you can just hold it and let it go. But the point is, it takes 100% of your effort to get to that position. And that's exactly what's going to come up in a fight. In a fight, it's going to be 100% effort, except you're used to doing 100% effort 3-4 nights a week. Yeah. 3-4 nights a week. I go and there's grown men and they're going to try to kill me with their bare hands, and I'm going to try to kill them, and then we're going to slap hands and we hug and I say thanks brother, and we move on to the next guy, and you go to the next one you tap hands, you slap hands, that's what everybody does, and then you lock up, and this is the goal. I'm going to try to get you to tap, and what you're saying when you tap is you could have just killed me. And then you're going to try to do the same thing to me. And if you get me in something, I'm going to have to tap. And I'm not going to want to, but I'm going to have to, because it's very important. You don't want to die.
You have to fall in love with jiu-jitsu. Of course, you need like the mental state together. You can't have a fragile ego, and you gotta have a warrior's mind. But if you have a warrior's mind, you love to fight, you love to train, you have a great work ethic, please fall in love with some jiu-jitsu. Fall in love with it, then you become dangerous on the ground. A wrestler who is not interested in learning how to take people out, that's like a basketball player not interested in like shooting the ball. I just want to dribble. I'm just going to dribble. I don't need to shoot the ball. I'm just going to dribble. Look at me. I'm a great dribbler. Yeah, your dribbling is awesome. You got to get good at closing the show, making some points. How could you be a wrestler and not be in love with choking necks? Fall in love with it.
When you learn jiu-jitsu, especially in the early years, you have to have a healthy ego or you'll never get through being a white belt. Being a white belt is demeaning. Men manhandle you. I remember my first time I was training at Carlson Gracie's on Hawthorne Street. It was 1996 when I first started doing jiu-jitsu. And there was this kid who was a purple belt, this Brazilian kid, and he fucking would rape me. Just crush me every time we would roll. And it drove me nuts because he wasn't any bigger than me. He was my size. He was my age. We were the same. And he would just fucking manhandle me. Dude would just toss me around and strangle me. And I remember thinking like, man, I can't believe that it's so easy for someone to do this to me. And then I knew like this guy was only a purple belt. He wasn't even a black belt. I'm like, fuck. Like that feeling is not a good feeling. Yeah, right. The feeling of getting your ass kicked like that in the gym is not a good feeling. But the only way to get good is you got to get used to that. You got to roll with good guys. If you don't roll with good guys, you don't know whether or not you can really tap them. You don't know whether or not your shit only works on people who suck. You got to get tapped. You got to get, in the beginning, you got to get strangled all the time. People are going to throw you around. They're going to dominate you. So if you can get through that, usually your egos are really in check. Jiu-jitsu guys are some of the friendliest, nicest, most easygoing guys that I've ever been around.
If you haven't wrestled your whole life, guess what? Most of the guys at the top have wrestled, and you better have the answer for them. That's your worst nightmare. You better be training for that wrestler right now, because that's what you're going to hit. And every year, more and more wrestlers are quitting their job at fucking Home Depot, and they're watching The Ultimate Fighter going, I could be famous too? I wrestled 23 years. Fuck this life. They got 3 kids. They hate their wife. There's a lot of these guys coming. They're coming. They want to be famous too. There's a new celebrity in town, and it's the MMA fighter. And these guys, there are a bunch of them. The judo guys are going, shit, I could do it too. I almost went to the Olympics in judo. There's all these guys coming out. What are you going to do to them? These guys are used to being on top. They've been wrestling since 2. You're going to start wrestling now. If you haven't wrestled your whole life, your guard better be amazing. It better be ninja. When they talk about your guard, you think you're going to make it to the top in MMA and you haven't wrestled your whole life? If they're not talking about your guard like it's fucking phenomenal, so dangerous, stay away from his guard, it's amazing. If they're not saying that about your guard, your chances are slim that you're going to get past the elite wrestler.